Belichick and the UNC Tar Heels traveling to Orlando to face off against the UCF Knights. I'm Casey Honigbaum, joined by Wes Bryant. Another ACC-Big 12 matchup. We're excited for this one.
Yeah, man, it's been a lot of fun so far. For North Carolina, this is going to be a nice little test because they've had a couple of easy opponents the last few weeks, so now they get a little bit more of a stiff test.
Yeah.
Can they pass it? Can they come out with a victory?
Yeah, and it's the second go-around for UCF's head coach, Scott Frost, as the head coach of UCF. Remember, he brought that program from 6-7 to then an undefeated season in 2017, and now he's trying to do that again as a member of the Big 12. When I look at the key matchup, I'm looking at UCF's running game against this UNC front. Jaden Nixon, Miles Montgomery, the two running backs for UCF. Jaden Nixon's been kind of a surprise. He's been awesome as a transfer from Western Michigan. 150 yards and 2 touchdowns through 2 games. I'm looking to see what he can do against North Carolina.
Well, the key thing for me is this battle up front. North Carolina only has 3 sacks on the season so far, and you're going up against a UCF team that's 7th in sacks allowed, and they're also top 5 in the Big 12 in rushing. So they're going to have their work cut out for them. But for North Carolina, you've got to be able to generate some type of pass rush to be able to keep this team behind the chains, and you also have to be able to stop the run as well. It seems obvious, and this North Carolina defense has had a lot of success the last couple of weeks, but again, it's against Richmond and Charlotte. So this is going to be a much bigger test for them.
You mentioned the rushing game, and that's the number that is telling me the story here for UCF. 232 rushing yards per game. That's good for 20th in the entire country. I'm looking for them to keep that up against UNC.
The North Carolina defense has not given up a touchdown in 2 consecutive games. They only gave up 21 yards rushing and 3 points to the Charlotte 49ers. They had a fumble return for a touchdown against Richmond. So for this North Carolina defense, we talked about some of the stat rankings as far as the sacks and them not being able to get there. But Bill Belichick, we know that he's known for defense with his son Steve calling the plays. In the last couple of weeks, the competition has not been fierce, but they've been living up to what they needed to do in those matchups. So now with this UCF offense coming in, can they keep them in check as well?
Yeah. Obviously, I've been talking about the run game for UCF all episode long, and I'm looking for Miles Montgomery to have a big game. I mentioned Jaden Nixon earlier, but Miles Montgomery was that guy who was really expected to step into that running back 1 role when RJ Harvey got drafted. I think the interesting thing that Montgomery brings is the receiving element as well. He's got almost just as many receiving yards as he does rushing yards, so I'm looking to see them implement him into the game plan a little more.
I'm going to Damon June for North Carolina, the true freshman, 3-star prospect, and he was an early enrollee. He had 148 yards rushing last week, and for this North Carolina offense, they need something because they are in the 100s in passing and rushing across the country when you look at the numbers, and so for him, they need a game break. And it looks like this kid might be emerging as a star in this North Carolina offense.
When you look beyond the box score, I think the biggest thing is the non-familiarity. This is the first time that these two teams have ever met, so it's going to be very interesting to see how they match up against each other.
Yeah, I'm going to North Carolina in the state of Florida. They've won their last 3 matchups there, including last year, beating Florida State, where Omarion Hampton had that big game. But the only problem is Omarion Hampton is not going to be there to run the ball for them. But hey, I like the trend. So North Carolina, can they make it 4 straight in the Sunshine State?
3:30 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday. Again, first time that these two teams have ever met. Not for a lack of trying. They have tried a couple times. Weather permitting, hasn't worked out, but it should be a fun one.